You are now listening to the Pelicans post-game report. Flash report.
Shout out to the flocking nation, man. For all things Pelicans, we up in this thing, Big Q, representing the Pelican post-game report, Flash report. Just wanted to holler at you guys today, man. Few things shaking for the Pelicans. We'll have some reports later on in the week as well, in the live stream on Friday with the call-in section, as we'll be covering the Pelicans during this time. And it's a feeling, man. And thanks to the community, man, a unified front, that we've been putting the pressure, if you want to call it that, of the New Orleans Pelicans after a lot of really in my opinion, unrighteous and really backhanded, dirty, stinking moves that the team has committed over the last year or so of doing it, mentioning the secret extensions and stuff of that ilk. And also to touch on the fact that the NBA lottery happened tonight. Shout out to Rail Wright, our Pelican contributor on the WhoDatDaily.com, wrote an article covering that. He also had a really good article, man, called The Pelican Faithful Questions to Team Future headed into the offseason. And both of these were really stellar articles. This is a very busy time for our Pelican writers, and Rail has been really putting in a lot of work on the site. So shout out to Rail for doing some great work covering the Pelicans securing the 21st pick in the NBA draft. We know they'll get the 21st pick. They won the tiebreaker to switch out with Milwaukee from 23 and to 21. So that's where they sit. There's also the June 1st deadline that the Pelicans have on whether or not they're going to take the Lakers' 17th pick in the first round for this season, or whether they're going to wait to 2025 to take that pick. That's still something that the Pels can have 2 first-round picks, and then they can use these 2 picks to kind of maybe leverage to use these picks to acquire a veteran. It'll give them options. 2 first-rounders are better than none. And really, 2025 should be the year. The Pelicans really should not wait to 2025. They should take the rights of the Lakers pick, just because the Lakers wouldn't have a draft pick, that high at the 17th spot. And as well, the Pelicans could use both of these picks if they needed to add into a trade situation where they can trade to acquire a veteran or do whatever they got to do. Because me personally, I don't think Willie Green plays a rookie unless this rookie's a damn awesome, super defensive type player. I mean, that's the only way you're going to make it on the field. I mean, the court with this guy and his thinking. But anyway, y'all feel free to go into both these articles and check them out on WhoDatDaily.com. The New Orleans Pelicans section, man, he did a real phenomenal job of covering that. But I didn't want to talk about that. I just wanted to give shine to our site and our contributors. But really what I wanted to go into and talk about what happened with the Pelicans, this is really the article I wanted to go into. And this is from NOLA.com's Christian Clark. And this is the second article we've covered on the show, because he's been dropping some pretty good ones. And what he was saying pretty much was the Pelicans made big changes to the medical staff, and here's why they had success. And this is type of the things that we were talking about the Pelicans moving forward. Like, man, some of this stuff is kind of commonsensical, But anyway, let's kind of delve into this article right here. Y'all hit the like button for me and the share button as we get going. And 2 seasons before the Pelicans, and 2 seasons before the New Orleans Pelicans 23 and 24 campaign, Zion Williamson and Ingram missed a combined 199 games between those guys. Crazy. Their struggles to stay on the court factored into the Pelicans' decision to make what they call significant changes to the medical staff. This happened last summer. Now, Aaron Nelson, who's the guy who came over from Phoenix, who had this world-renowned resume of really helping players stay healthy, who in 2019 was hired as the vice president of player care and performance and development. He was the first hire that David Griffin had when he took the job, was given an advisory role. So they didn't fire him. They just made him underneath Amy Atmore, who was really she did a splendid job. So shout out to Amy Atmore. We're going to see if we could try to get Amy on the show and have her to talk about her impact, because she had an impact of what happened with the Pelicans this year. Now, they brought in Amy. She's a physical therapist and director of rehabilitation. Now, Atmore is the director of performance and sports science. She's the director of performance and sports science. Daniel Bove and head athletic trainer Tommy Maystadt worked with general manager Trajan Langdon to make the day-to-day medical decisions. That's a positive. The results of that restructuring were positive. Williamson played 70 games, the most in his NBA career. Ingram played in 64 games, the most games he's played in a season since his rookie year with the Lakers in 2016, 2017. So Zion played in 70 games, by far the most, and BI played in more games than he played since his rookie campaign. That is positive, because we could talk about Zion, but the two top stars played in the most in single season game in their young career. So the Pelican Stars' dual availability allowed the team to win 49 regular season games, which is tied for the second most wins in franchise history. And then this is what Willie Green had to say about it. He says, I think it started at the top. Coach Willie Green said it started with Executive Vice President David Griffin, who started with Trajan having conversations with our performance and medical about ways we could do better. That's the goal. In order to give ourselves a chance, our guys have to be healthy on the floor. So he said they did a tremendous job this season of communicating with each other with the additions, making sure they address the situations right away, making sure all the guys are comfortable with what they were doing in the medical performance side, and they saw results. They were healthier. Now, Green hired as the Pelicans coach in July of 21, and his first 2 years on the job, get this, Ingram and Williamson played in 12 games together. He missed all of the 2022 season with a broken right foot. A hamstring injury knocked him out in the final 53 games of the 22-23 season. Now, Ingram, he missed 27 games in 21-22 with an assortment of injuries. He was sidelined for 37 games in 22 and 23, and 29 of which were a result of a left toe injury. Now, Ingram kicked the back of a Memphis Grizzlies player foot in November of 2022. The Pelicans labeled the injury as a left toe contusion and said Ingram was day-to-day, and he missed 29 consecutive games on day-to-day, a stretch in which New Orleans squandered its strong start of the season. And then in October, Langdon said the Pelicans previously didn't have a physical therapist on staff. Players told management they were interested in working with someone who fit that description. So the Pelicans, man, and this is we going back to the Stan Van Gundy administration. We're going back to the Elvin Gentry administration. They did not have a physical therapist. Now, you would think with a professional basketball team that have athletes running around left and right, that they would have thought to have a physical therapist to deal with players' injuries. They didn't. To me, and maybe just me commonsensically, because I'm a common sense person, how is that not a thing? How do you not have a physical therapist? Hell, you should have at least 2 of them on the staff. I mean, get 2 more. You know what I'm saying? Get 2 more. But Williamson did not participate in the playoffs after he tweaked his left hamstring in the play-in tournament against the Lakers on April the 16th, which was unfortunate, and it ended pretty much his season. But this is what Trajan Langdon said about the situation. We didn't have a physical therapist before. I think that was one thing a lot of players questioned at the end of the year. The players questioned it. So the leadership didn't come in and say, you know what? We need to hire some people. We're in a sports related business. We're dealing with athletes. Let's do this. The players had to do it because a lot of the players have their own people that they work out with too. They don't just follow with the team trainers or whatnot. Some of these guys, if they can afford it, they have their own personal trainers and own staff members that they go to that they trust with their bodies and in their rehab processes that help them as well. So that's kind of, to me, it's like, how was this not a thing? How did we not have physical therapists on staff before? I just don't understand that rationale. And it took the players questioning the team about it for the team to get physical therapists, right? So imagine if they were proactive and did this 2 years ago. What kind of Pelican team would you be looking at now? Just kind of, that's just kind of I don't get that. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. Do you feel the way I feel? Y'all let me know in the comment section. He says, players question at the end of the year, especially with the amount of injuries we were having. The Pelicans players were questioning, where's the physical therapist at? Should we have somebody on our staff that could really manage that and oversee that and add and direct it? That's going to be her, Atmore's, responsibility. So Williamson did not participate in the playoffs. Like I said, he tweaked it. And they said of him, he's a competitor. That's what we love about him. He's a competitor. He loves the challenge. He was talking about Zion. Now, Williamson and Ingram played in more than 1,000 minutes together across 55 games in 23-24. Green finally was able to get an extended look at how the team performed with its two most talented players on the court. And of course, it says it was necessary data to collect as the team heads into the offseason, where it has to decide whether to give Ingram a contract extension or explore moving him, which obviously, if you're the Pelicans, you're not going to give Brandon Ingram a contract extension. The pretty much what's going to happen with the Pelicans, and I think a lot of people agree with me on this, is that ultimately they're going to break that core up. And the core is Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and Zion BI and CJ. Now, ultimately, that's what's going to end up happening. Now, BI might go first, but eventually CJ is going to follow too. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Who knows? But at the end of the day, when you're breaking up the core, that's what it is. And you got to reform another core. And guys, because it's a timeline, guys like Trey Murphy have to step up into those spots. And you had a window to win. And with BI contract coming up, you got Trey Murphy behind him who, in my opinion, fits better because he's a shooter and he's more than just a shooter. He used to be a shooter, but Trey's really, his defense is better. He's attacking the basket when he pulls the ball down, and he's gotten taller and he's gotten more aggressive, and he'll be a phenomenal fit next to Zion Williamson, the guy that commands that much of attention. But there are many options going on in teams that are looking to possibly trade for Brandon Ingram, and there are a lot of teams who could be at play in trading for Brandon Ingram. This is an article right here from Bleacher Report that's talking about teams that could be interested in Brandon Ingram, and it's just, here's some of the reports indicating here from Mark Stein saying sure to be a topic in Chicago this week as the front office execs and scouts and coaches and agents gather for that usual pre-draft frenzy of on-court drills and all this kind of stuff that's coming up, and a growing belief league-wide that the Pelicans aggressively explored the trade market for BI. And according to Stein, New Orleans executive president of basketball operations David Griffin all but promised the Pelicans would be looking to make a handful of trades this summer. Handful means more than one. Does that include CJ McCollum as well? You're breaking up BI. BI is the second part of the core. 1, 2, 3. 1 is Zion, 2 was BI, 3 is CJ. If you trade BI, CJ got to go too. You can't, they're gonna have to start kind of put this thing together because BI contract is up after this year, and then CJ McCollum got a big fat contract. But if the Pelicans really want to start building again with Zion and a new core that fits around him better, they'll have an opportunity to start right now. So they have to get rid of both those guys, and we'll see. So good point right here on the article saying a handful of trades. That's more than one. So we'll see what that is. And there it is, the quote right there. So following the Pelicans' first round exit to OKC, Stein reported that these are some of the teams that's interested in Brandon Ingram, which is Philadelphia, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Orlando. Those are some of the teams that are interested and have been linked to interest with BI, according to Mark Stein. So we'll see. BI his average was low, still averaged 21 points a game, almost 6 assists with over 5 rebounds. And he, during the playoffs, he was hurt and wasn't all of that, but we know he was banged up during the series. He wasn't 100%. So with that being said, it's still his age is still a positive. He's still known as a 20-plus scorer of the game, and he can be a good complement to a team. Like he would be a really nice fit with Philadelphia. It's just they don't have any assets that we want. If you want Brandon Ingram, I'm thinking we might need to get Tyrese Maxey out of you. We don't want Joel Embiid because of the injuries, but there is no other person that we would want to take from Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? He would be a good fit there, but there's nothing we want from there. Cleveland is a team. There are some people that we like. I don't know about Darius Garland. He got a massive contract, but could Darius Garland be a guy? I don't know about him. Spider is another guy that they talked about. Is another guy that's there. Who else is there? Jared Allen was another guy that was tied to Cleveland, and we've been kind of thinking about Jared Allen as a center, but do you do that for BI? What about the point guard position? So there's a lot of stuff going on. And of course, Atlanta has two. I mean, whether you like Trae Young, who's very expensive, or DeJounte Murray, who I think would probably be a better fit in terms of contract and all this kind of stuff. But when David Griffin, when he likes to put these trades together, he likes to swing for the fences. So if he if Trey Murphy, because they just acquired the first overall pick in the NBA draft, they could have an opportunity under Quinn Snyder to reset Atlanta in a way to kind of move these guys out and get their money back and do it. And there was a couple of players that the Pels liked from Atlanta. They liked the center. I don't think they'll be able to get him, but we've mentioned Clint Capella in trades, which he would be a decent fit for the Pelicans, because really they ain't working with nothing right now. So the older Clint Capella, I don't know. They like the backup center, but I don't know if you'll be able to get. I don't think they're releasing him. And then Orlando have a treasure chest of different players. If Orlando is really something, they have a lot of talent that you can look up. I know my dog DC talk about Isaac there as well. I don't think him thrown in the trade, and perhaps one of the other players that they have, maybe the Wagners. I don't know, one of the other players, somebody mentioned Suggs and all that kind of stuff. So depending on what you're looking at from Orlando, they have a lot of interesting players there that the Pelicans, man, could utilize. You get what I'm saying? They are really interesting. But if you're looking for star power, man, Atlanta might be the fit. But then again, intrigues me Orlando and how serious they are about acquiring BI to take that next step. And plus it sends him to the Eastern Conference, and the majority of the teams you see there are Eastern Conference teams. So it's no reason why we're seeing that trend. But anyway, this is some of the stuff I just wanted to touch on in this episode of the Pelican Post-Game Report. I wanted to kind of spotlight and give Amy Atmore a shout out for what she did with the Pelicans, being a physical therapist. I also asked Trajan Langdon and David Griffin to add another one. If one physical therapist did this much work for us in 1 year, maybe we should get two of them, and we might not ever have injuries. I'm just messing with you, but we need to consider, getting better at that, man, if we want to keep these players healthy, man. All right, so anyway, with that being said, fam, I'm gonna get out on that. Listen, this week we're gonna kick in and start the channel memberships for the Pelican Post Game Report. You guys out there that want to help the platform grow, please feel free to join our channel memberships. We'll be doing shows and stuff like that for our lot content and special shows and all this kind of stuff, prospect breakdowns, all that's coming up. We'll be kind of doing a lot of that on our lot content streams, and that'll be all available coming up soon. So with that being said, I'm Big Q. I'm gonna get out on that. Shout out to my contributors, DC and Lexa. Much love to y'all. Much love to the flocking community, man. Y'all hit the like button and the share button, and I'm gonna holler at y'all on the next one. Much love, peace, and go Pels.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.